Hey, folks, welcome back to the CODEX Station Review Time, where we go over the X-Men 97 cartoon. And today we're going to be going over the last three episodes of Operation Zero Tolerance. I am your host, Sal the Guy, and as with me is always the great man himself, Sonny Kruger, the host of the CODEX podcast. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. A lot has happened these past few weeks,
Oh my
man.
God, it has been great! It has been so good.
I've been excited to talk with you about it. So
Yep.
finally here,
Yep.
like I said, we're reviewing Operation Zero Tolerance, parts 1, 2, and 3. So
Right.
I'm ready to do this thing.
All right. But let's get some business out of the way then first. As always, you can find us on the Codex Station. Head on over to thecodexstation.com. Check us out there. You can meet the team, get some merch, and so much more. You can find out what Sonny likes to read. You'll find out what I like to read, and you'll see what shows we're all listed on. So go check it out. Also, if you get onto any social media platform, you can do at the Codex Station and find us because we are streaming everywhere. Everywhere. You just type in at the Codex Station and you'll find us. Click that like, share, and subscribe. Whatever you have to do to watch us or get notifications for us, do it because you don't want to miss out on this content. And like I said, I am your host, Sal the Slab Guy, and when I'm not here on Codex, find me on YouTube on the corner, Sal's Comic Corner, that is, and on Instagram as the Slab Guy 77. And Sonny, you've got a YouTube channel too, don't you?
Yes, I am on YouTube. I have a show called A Series About a Series. The link is over there, right by Sal's Corner. And yeah, so when I'm not reading comic books, which is a lot, I do read comic books a lot. When I'm not doing that, sometimes I'm working on a show of my own called A Series About a Series.
Which is excellent, by the way. I have watched all of it, and it's amazing. I love it.
Well, thank you very much. Speaking of series, we've got a series to talk about that I love to talk about that started me off with comic books and everything, and that is X-Men. Well, now X-Men 97.
Right,
and it came to its season 1 came to its end.
And let me just say this: I am seriously pissed off that I have to wait a whole year now for season 2.
Oh yeah,
that just sucks.
Is it the end of 2025 yet? You know?
Yeah, I know. Seriously, come on.
Each week I was saying, I'm like, is it 3 a.m. yet? Is it Wednesday 3 a.m. yet? And now
you wake up at 3 a.m. on Wednesdays going, there's nothing there. I don't know why. Refresh. Okay.
What's going on? Yeah. It's not the same. Something's missing.
Something is missing. All right. So why don't we go ahead and dive right in? Let's go with you first. Tell me what you thought. You don't have to go over each individual episode, but if you want to give us your best scenes or best scenes from each episode, go for it. Let's hear it.
Okay, and it should be known that, of course, there will definitely be spoilers of all 3 episodes.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, so we're going over all 3. But yeah, Operation Zero Tolerance, part 1. We did have, Bastion had his prime sentinels going out there, or everybody were taking over everybody. We see all the people who seemed to be pretty much against mutants. They were pretty much they were giving their lives pretty much to Bastion to make them into these prime sentinels, and they were going after all the X-Men. And we got to see some cool scenes, especially Wolverine from the sky. I thought was a cool scene when he was fighting them. And then even to one of the highlights was finally we get to see Professor Charles Xavier come back, return after all these years. Well,
and he gives us his classic line,
Yeah.
So to meet my X-Men.
We got to see Professor Charles Xavier say that line. Obviously for the show, would say he's been gone for like a year, but for us who watched the original live, he's been gone for a very long time. Yep. So it was good to see, Xavier reunited with the X-Men. And then, of course, there was part 2, and we had 2 teams, one going after Bastion, one going after Magneto, because, who could forget that part at the end with Magneto turning down, turning
off the world.
Turning off the world,
Basically gave the entire planet an EMP pulse and just went, that's it.
Yeah, and that's he did do that too, also to stop Bastion and his prime sentinels. But then we had some of the X-Men go, and it was a bit similar to this storyline of Fatal Attractions.
Oh yeah, lots of stuff pulled from there.
All those omnibuses I got.
How heavy is that?
It's
you could kill an intruder with that, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. No kidding, Sal. I don't think so. Be careful with that. I've got a few omnibuses there, but this one I make sure.
Yes, you do.
Take out. But yeah. So we got to see quite a few of the X-Men. We also got to see Storm Return of
New
X Men, which is
costume,
good. So we saw Storm, yeah, the new costume,
costume for her.
and we got to see Storm and Morph, Jean, and Cable going against Mister Sinister, but more Bastion side, and then we got to see some of the others, like Xavier and Wolverine going against Magneto, who had Rogue and Sunspot joined his side,
Mm-hmm.
and of course the big thing, that huge scene at the end, Wolverine stabbing Magneto, and then I was like,
Yep.
are they gonna kill Magneto? But no, he didn't. He was not dead.
Yeah.
But he was just very
Not many
angry.
people. No, not many people survive a stab wound from Wolverine, but did.
But then he did this, one of the highlights of the season. But I love Wolverine. Hate to see it happen, but it was still an oh my god moment. And there it
Mm-hmm.
was.
A little higher and up to your left. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
There
There,
it
you're
is.
right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're right. There it is.
Magneto ripping out Wolverine's adamantium. That
Mm-hmm.
was like, I could not believe that they did it, and so close to the comic book itself.
Oh, very close.
And
That
then
detail, that level of detail was like really almost a carbon copy of what happened in the comics. And
yeah,
I've replayed that scene several times, and you see the adamantium like coming out of his body or out of his body, but you only see it really shooting out of his body in one part, and that was coming out of his leg. But it was giving
yeah.
you
So they didn't want to be
the
too
implication
violent,
that
I
that's what
think.
was
Yeah,
happening. But I guess to make it less uh, graphic, I guess, because it's
yeah.
a pretty intense scene, but they were trying to limit that, I think, right there. But that was still pulled right out of the comic. Really a great shot. Really
Oh
a great
yeah,
shot.
and even too, there are pictures online showing the comparisons of
Mm-hmm.
from X Men '97 in the comic book,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, like I said, it's pretty much pulled right out of the comic. And then of course the ending, part three, which for the record in X Men the animated series, the original one, they had 2-part episodes. They had a couple 4-part episodes. They had one 5-part. They had no 3-part episodes. So this is the first time both series
Mm-hmm.
together that they've ever had a 3-part episode.
Yeah.
And yeah, in part three, wrapped it up. I mean, I guess you could say wrapped it up, but kept things going. Getting me, they finished pretty much the story arc of what was
Mm-hmm.
going on, and then they set us up for what should be a huge X Men '97 season number 2. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, I
Oh,
absolutely
I
love
have
it.
to actually. I read something else online, which I'll have to add. Towards the end of this, because go ahead.
I don't know. I was about to say, so I mean, excitement from the whole way through.
Mhm.
I didn't even get to the cameos yet. Oh
Oh,
man, every episode
let me
cameos.
get to this.
So I
Cameos
will pass
galore.
that over to you,
All
Sal.
right, let's start with part one. Not only do we see Doctor Doom, we get it. He's on a monitor with talking with Bastion, but also Baron Zemo. And then there was a third person in there we don't know the identity of, is a female. She looked like a leader of some type, obviously, but I'm gonna guess that she's Madam Hydra.
Hmm,
That's my guess on that one. But we won't know for sure, but we'll see. We also see a cameo from Silver Samurai. We see a
yeah.
cameo from Spider-Man. And as he's swinging through it. So basically, that comes towards the end after Magneto blacks out the Earth, and you see the heroes like all around the world, trying to figure out what's happening, type situation. Uh, but the what just before that happens though, the Valerie Cooper was actually survives. We find out she survives the assault on Genosha, but then she is kind of trapped or is Bastion's prisoner at the time, and he foolishly lets her, what's the monologue to her the whole time that she's there. But at the end, she finally realizes, Magneto was right, and releases him, and he immediately goes towards the North Pole, where I
These little undies.
yeah, and his black booty shorts, as I like to call them. I can see that being the next year's Halloween costume, Magneto's black booty shorts. So anyhow,
Good
um,
idea. Good idea.
yeah, no, I was just there you go. So he goes to the North Pole, magnetic north. I'm assuming, because I've always read in the comics that he's always stronger at the poles. His power is like enhanced or is more amplified at the magnetic north or magnetic south. So that's I've often read that. So that's why he went there. And then of course he releases a worldwide EMP and blacks out everything. So meanwhile, what you do find out in part one is that Nimrod or Bastion or the Sentinel had gone back in time and actually infected. I don't know how to say infected, but maybe rewrote DNA in an earlier, uh, like his father and his mother, so that he would be born as a technopath, which is a person that can speak to machines. And so what's happening now is that there's generations of people being born that actually have this programming inside them and they don't know about it. So he activates this, and pretty much everybody on Earth, it turns out to be a Sentinel Prime. I think they call them the Prime Sentinels, is what they're calling them. And Beast figures out how many people are infected, and he can only, he has this holographic world show up, and it's spinning, and all of a sudden, like every light starts going red on it, and he gives his classic line of "Oh my stars and garters," that type of line, and he finds out that everybody, including his on and on off girlfriend Trish Tilby, is also a Prime Sentinel.
Yeah.
And in this episode, which was really good, I want to call out is the fight with Wolverine versus all these Prime Sentinels, and he is just hacking and slashing away. They toss him into the air. He starts, trying to like slash the one that's holding him. They let him go, and as he's falling, he's slicing through Prime Sentinels as he's falling.
That was
And then,
awesome.
of course, that was pretty cool. Then they crash back into the mansion, and then we see this epic team up fight that has Wolverine and Nightcrawler, and they just go to town on these Sentinels.
And
And
cool seeing Nightcrawler with the swords.
with the swords,
Using the swords.
so it pans out, and the Sentinels are like, "Why do you resist?" And Wolverine gives his classic line, "I've got 6 reasons to resist." And then right then, Nightcrawler bamfs in, and you only see a part of him. He's like, "No, my friend, 9." And then you pan out, and he's holding 2 swords, and his tail has a sword. And this is classic Nightcrawler fight. He is teleporting, he is slashing, he is bouncing around from target to target. And what I liked here best is they figure that they said they got to get this away from Rogue because that's who they were actually next to. And as Nightcrawler is stabbing or as his attacking, he is bamfing out that particular Sentinel to another area, and he comes back to do it again, and he's doing it again. And I know this is on the replay. I watched this a few times now. So when Wolverine first comes in that room and he stabs one Prime Sentinel, and he's like, "I got 6 reasons, right?" So the Sentinels can prepare themselves pretty quickly, but during this fight scene, as Nightcrawler's bamfing him out, that guy had fixed himself only to be stabbed again by Wolverine and,
Nice.
Nightcrawler at the same time, and Nightcrawler bamps all of them out, and but you get to see it from, I guess, Wolverine's perspective. So it almost looks like he's being yanked through a like warp
Yes.
through
Yeah.
time or warp through space, and that's pretty much how his teleportation works. He actually does travel to another pocket dimension in limbo that then to his target destination type of situation. And as he's getting pulled through space, you can see him stretching, and he's like, you can see the shock on Wolverine's face, like like that type of thing, which was really cool.
I do like
And
that.
then
Yeah.
Yep, and then then all of a sudden they're on the rooftop of the mansion, ready to fight some more. So that was pretty cool. In episode 2, we got to see a little bit more cameos, I believe, and we got to see. Actually, no, it was episode 3. So episode 2, we saw another Silver Samurai, I believe, cameo, but didn't have a speaking role. He's just kind of standing there. But in episode 3, we got to see Peter Parker, Mary Jane, and Flash Thompson. So
Yeah.
this alludes to the fact, because remember at the end of the Spider-Man the '90s cartoon, Mary Jane was pulled into some alternate universe, and that's what started the Spider-Man Unlimited cartoon.
Yeah, and he was
So
going there next to the animated one ended. He's like, I'm gonna go find Mary Jane.
right, exactly. So that's where that ended, and that other cartoon picked up. So this leads you to believe that maybe he's back from that. Maybe this is before that. Don't know, but it looks like this is somewhere in that time frame or that time zone type situation. But that was great. We got to see Daredevil. We got to see Cloak and Dagger. We got to see Iron Man and Captain America. We got to see King T'Challa. It was,
Yeah, King
it was
T'Chaka
yep,
was there. Yeah.
yep. So that was some awesome cameos.
Even Omega Red. I like seeing Omega
Oh,
Red.
yeah,
Crimson
Omega Red,
Dynamo.
Dark
Yeah,
Star.
Dark Star.
What's the one
Crimson
was
Dynamo.
Crimson Dynamo. That's right. couldn't think of his name there for a minute. Yeah, Crimson Dynamo, Omega Red, Dark Star. We got to see Psylocke. We got to see some of the Alpha
Yes.
Flight.
Yeah.
We got to see Puck, North Star, and there was one other one I can't think of.
Aurora, I believe her name is.
It was Aurora.
Aurora,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So, oh man, tons of cameos,
Yeah,
which
everybody.
which leads me to what I read, because what I read earlier today was they were talking about the X-Men 97 and how it's been such a hit that will there be a Spider-Man 97 cartoon
We
spin-off?
haven't seen things yet.
And yep, but they said they didn't say yes, but they didn't rule it out.
I saw the actor who voiced Peter Parker was
Eh,
saying he'd be up for it.
yeah, exactly. So hopefully, get your fingers crossed. Maybe we'll see a Spider-Man 97 cartoon as well,
Yeah.
which
Speaking
would
of
be
those cameos,
yeah.
Morph, I don't know that some of the characters are
Oh,
there, but Morph was,
that's right.
turning into the Hulk. I thought was one of the
Yeah.
coolest ones. But we saw,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
many other characters too. Like we saw Sauron, we saw, I'm trying to remember some
Mr.
of the others.
Fantastic.
Yes, Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, there was quite a few cool ones throughout the three
Mm-hmm.
episodes. I mean, throughout the whole show, but right now we're focusing on the last three.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the cool Morph cameos. I really like that they did that throughout the whole season because they can turn into any character. So cool to see Morph turning into all of them, and even too we saw Morph turning into Jean Grey. It reminded me almost. There was an issue after Wolverine's adamantium was pulled out, and it deals with the lot being on a plane, and it's Jean who's by Wolverine's side. Whereas this obviously got to change it up a little bit because of what's going on to make it for the series, and they had it be Morph. And in my opinion, that was even the Morph said, because Wolverine's seeing Jean, and Morph is like, oh, she can't say it. But I believe that was Morph kind of saying their, feelings for Wolverine of being there for him and loving Wolverine.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Always the cameos. And like
right.
I said, the cameos and then Morph turning into the characters too.
Right. Exactly. Did you like when you said Morph Smash? Because that was.
Yeah, I said that was one of the coolest parts. I said, love seeing Morph turn to the Hulk and then to say Morph Smash.
More Smash, and then of course he's smashing Sentinels as he's going through these things. It was great, and of course Beast was his eloquent self, being an X-Men as best he is, as he is, and that was some good stuff there too. And I especially liked the fight with Jean Grey and Sister.
Oh yes,
that was great. That was great. So Bastion had set up a base in the Galapagos Islands. I hope I pronounced that right, but I think that's right. So they go there. So it's Cable, Morph, Jean Grey, and Storm and Forge. But Storm and Forge are still in the jet fighting the Sentinels in the air, which, by the way, was completely awesome because you saw Storm, like, her power level was just like off the charts. She's creating this mega tornado storm, and it was just insane. It was really good.
So we've been waiting from Storm because we hadn't.
No,
she'd been gone. She had to get her powers back, so it was really good to see that.
So yeah, I could see her cut loose. And then so they're on the ground and they're fighting, and Sinister's being his usual jerk self, saying, "Well, I could tell you if you." When I switched you and Madeline, I could tell who's who and yada yada yada. And she's like, you know what? I don't care. She fights with me now. And she just starts kicking his ass because they had built like a fake town. I mean, fake town right down to like a bowling alley with working mechanisms, pins and bowling balls and a jukebox. Because while they're fighting, they're in this building that's a bowling alley, and she's flinging bowling balls at him and just nailing him left and right with it, and then throws the jukebox at him as well. It was great. I thought that was a great power set for, Jean Grey doing that. And then, of course, towards the end of that, she actually taps into the power of the Phoenix Force. Which when she pops out of the water, she's the Phoenix again, and she was able to attach the nullifier. I believe it was called a nullifier that Beast and Forge had built to break his hold on the Sentinels, so they would all revert back to human. Which kind of sucks for all the ones that were in the air because all they did was drop.
Oh wow! Yeah, I did not think about that. Even I forgot about them. Yeah, you're right. If they're up that high in the air,
yep,
they're
and
not
they
going to
just
suddenly fly.
Yep, and then all of a sudden they just drop. Whoops. But anyhow, detail we don't have to worry about.
Yeah, we'll forget about that.
Move along. So she was able to attach that nullifier, which broke that that hold over the Sentinels. And at this point, Bastion went from, "Oh, I'm saving mutants. I'm creating a great utopian future," to being, "Well, now I've got to save humanity from itself." And that's where he's kind of really crossed the line to be genocidal. You know.
Yeah, it seems like he more just wants to wipe out, every mutant.
Yes. So at this point, when he realizes he can't use his Sentinels now to take over the world, he's going to bring down Asteroid M and hit, make it obliterate the Earth and start fresh again, type of situation. So, yep,
Yeah. So we did
good
see like,
stuff.
oh yeah, even too we, like because a lot of people didn't know Bastion before this series. Obviously, he was big in the comic books with Operation Zero Tolerance,
Right.
but yeah, we have these episodes, Tolerance is Extinction, that we
Mhm.
had seen him taking on the X-Men, and then two, also a bit of a surprise, Jubilee really started to show that she's got some power
Yep.
when
She
she
used some more
messed
of that
up
power set.
Bastion's
Yeah.
face. Yeah.
Yep. She
She made
used
him
her
look
power
almost like the
set.
Terminator, yeah.
Right. She used her power set that she got when she was in that episode with Mojo. If you
Yeah, the
notice, it was
multi-one.
the same type of power set, or the same power moves, I should say, during that
Yeah,
episode.
so she learned, yeah, so Jubilee did learn, and then obviously the two Sunspot has come into his own, learning to use his powers and showing the world, hey, I'm a mutant, and using his
Mhm.
powers to save Jubilee, but so many highlights all over, and
Ooh. How
yeah,
did
even
you
to
like?
Cable.
Right. How did you like the part where Bastion's about to knock out the gravity well, and in comes Rogue and says the classic line, "His name was Gambit. Remember it." And she just lays into him,
Oh, yeah, she was
and I'm like,
punching the headbutts, the claps,
it
yeah.
was, it was the
It's
one
like,
punch was like in
get
slow
him.
motion.
Yeah,
You could see his like face being like, you know, and then of course, then where do they land? On the blue spot of the moon, which also leaves you open to say, hey, okay, so now we've got the Watcher there, and else probably the Inhumans are probably there as well.
yeah, that'd be
You know?
terrific to see the Inhumans. And like I said, before, and remember how we did point out in our review of that one that you could see the outline of the Watcher there.
Yep,
So, and like you just said, how they're
absolutely.
in the blue moon with the Watcher. So,
Yep, the blue spot on the moon. Yep. So, yep. I thought that part was kind of rushed because I wasn't sure how close Asteroid M was to the moon, and I'm sure Rogue could probably survive that length, but Jubilee and Roberto, I don't know how close. They kind of, when they were out of the asteroid, they kind of flew back to Earth, but how close were they there to fly to keep be in the atmosphere, that type of thing.
yeah.
So it's kind of
Because I'm like, Sunspot, like maybe with his solar powers, like maybe that's his excuse. But yeah, I was a lot of people I saw online too were kind of wondering, wait, how are they living in, how are they
yeah.
breathing in space without anything? So, who
They
knows?
kind
Maybe
of they
next
kind of
season we'll talk.
yeah, maybe so.
Maybe next
They,
season we'll give a reason. As they show what happened to all the falling people.
right, right. All right. So you want to talk about the ending of what happened to him after Asteroid M is destroyed?
Oh yes. So
Let's go
we
ahead and
do
talk about
find
that.
out that it's like what happened to the X-Men. We do see Forge. He's looking and he's got some. We see quite a few characters, pictures of them like
Mhm.
gone, that they're missing, and then we see some others that were like, wait a minute, there's nothing over their faces. Like let's say Kitty Pryde, we saw Havoc. He had the pictures of them, but then like I said that they're missing, and then we find out, and then finally Bishop, who's been gone for
Gone
quite a
for
while,
yep.
finally she's like, "There's Bishop, come on!" I was like, "Where's Bishop?" He shows up, and then like we got to find the X-Men, and they show us that the X-Men, because Forge is, it was Bishop who said like, yeah, like something happened with the time, that they were pulled through time before. So we
Hmm.
see part of the X-Men had been sent, like Cyclops and Jean Grey had been sent to the future, the
Hmm.
year 3960. And as soon as I saw that year, I
Yep.
remembered that in the original cartoon that the Cable was always in the year 3999. So I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
3060, or no, 3960 is
Yeah.
not so far, off from when
Right.
he's an adult. And then we
Yep.
see the Ascani
Yep.
tribe, and we see that Cable is there as a child. So I
Yep.
thought that was terrific. And then we see the other X-Men have been sent back to, I don't remember the exact year, but it was a
Oh,
long, long time ago.
it was 3400 BC. I want to say. I can't think of it right now. I
Yep.
can actually look it
But
up.
yeah, I would just say a very, very long time ago, thousands of
Yeah.
years ago. And then they see this young man is being attacked. He's defending himself. And as soon as I was
Mhm.
thinking, as soon as I know, like back then, and then you see this man with blue lips, and they're saying like, we could help you out. And what is your name? In Sabanur. So
And some other. Yep.
Apocalypse, for those of you who
Apocalypse.
don't know. In case you
Yep.
couldn't tell by the blue lips, the red eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, so much could happen. I mean, it really set you up for what could be a huge season two. I mean, it's going to be hard to, come back after this one. I mean, to live up to this season, because this was truly an epic season, an epic event, and this is going to set so much up for the future, like we said, because now with how popular this is, they're already working on season two. They're working on season three. They were even saying we want to try to get the other seasons out, but everyone try to be patient. It's very hard though to be so patient
Right.
after all of this. And then, like we said, now even too, Spider-Man '97. I saw even people were talking about, hey, maybe they can make a Justice League and bring it back. I wouldn't mind any of those Spider-Man, Justice League, all those shows that I watched as a kid. I would love to see
Yep.
them come back, but X-Men is my favorite. X-Men is the one that got me going with comic books. First show I ever loved in general. So
Mm-hmm. So it was
obviously
three
super
thousand.
happy.
It was 3000 BC. I just went to that one part, that scene, looked it up really quick.
So
Because
3000 BC is when I see in
BC.
Sabanur.
So it's Magneto, Xavier, Kurt, and Rogue that are in that past. We did not see Wolverine at all in that past clip, so his whereabouts are unknown. In the
Yeah.
future, of course, it's Jean Grey and Cyclops, and this follows the storyline, or is probably going to follow the storyline of the Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, where
Hmm.
they actually are pushed to the future, and they actually end up raising their son in the future
Yeah.
type
Slim and
situation. But
red.
yep. But they never tell. I believe they never tell him that they were, that he was their parents, that they were his
Hmm.
parents. I don't think they did, in that series. But who knows how they'll work it this time?
Yeah, I think before Age, or I would put it, Age of, it's in the Age of Apocalypse book, but I think it was at the end of Legion Quest. He kind of
Yeah.
said, I knew, but then obviously
Oh,
things
okay.
got changed because Age of Apocalypse was changed. But
Right.
then, yeah, speaking of Cable, it was nice when he got to have that moment when Cyclops and Jean Grey were in space, and they were able to have a chat with Cable at the
Right.
table, and they were able to talk with him, and you have your
Right.
father's eyes.
Right. And
So it
able to say
was
goodbye.
nice
And
to
able to
see.
say
Yeah.
goodbye, which was one of Scott's regrets that he did not do.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I thought that was a very nice moment between
So
the
there's
three of them.
one more cameo, or one more end credit scene that we haven't talked about yet, and that is when Apocalypse shows up at present day Genosha, and he's
Yes.
there. He's sifting through the rubble. He's like so much pain, and he pulls up a Queen of Hearts card. Happened to be the Queen of Hearts card that Gambit threw on the fire. It's not completely burnt, but it's partially burnt. And he's like, so much death. And he emphasized death. And I'm like, okay, here he is. Gambit's coming
Yeah,
back as the Horseman of Death.
I know. I was glad to see, because I kept thinking, how are they going to bring it back? Maybe Krakoa, but I know it's not people saying Apocalypse, but especially after seeing that, I'm like, okay, this is what's going to happen.
Yep,
I still have to wait that long to see Gambit back and
I
alive
know.
again, and then he's going to have to, like, he's going to have to beat Death. But
Yep,
hey, if it brings him back, I'm
yep.
glad. Gambit always awesome.
Well, that's how Wolverine gets his adamantium back. Is he becomes a he becomes Death as well for the
Yeah,
different storyline, obviously. So I don't know if they're going to mix the two or not. So we'll see.
yeah, yeah. Like I
Um,
said, also too, like I said, Wolverine, Storm. We got to see where do they go in time.
yep,
They could leave it.
absolutely.
Yeah, they left us, but they gave us
Hanging.
a lot to be excited about. Oh yeah, hanging on so much. They did give us a lot to be excited about. To question, like I said, Wolverine and Storm,
Mhm.
but so much to be excited for. It's a great time. It is a great time to be an X-Men fan like us.
Mhm. Yes. So I'm not sure if you have watched the reviews I did with Dan, but if you did, Dan talks about, in the opening credits, you hear one of the characters saying previously on X Men, and they going through what's going on. We figured out that whoever's that voice, that's going to be the prominent character in that episode.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So like,
definitely.
Wolverine was. It was when he got his adamantium.
Yep. Yep.
For being Gambit was when the remembered episode. So I did see
Yep.
it.
Yep. Okay. Very good. Yep. So we got
And
that little Easter egg.
also, speaking of the beginnings, before we get to ratings and everything,
Yeah.
with the Prime Sentinels in the part one, a lot of the ones that they focused on were a lot of the people in the beginning, the ones like when you see Magneto's side and then Xavier's
Yes.
side, the people in the middle running were the ones
Yes.
turned into the Prime Sentinels. And then in the other
Yes.
parts, they were, if you pause very quickly, they are Prime Sentinels running in between.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so
I
it's very
I
I
saw that
love it.
online and I had to go back and pause it. Sure enough, those characters that they see in the opening credits are the Prime Sentinels they use during the show.
And one of the it's so many cameos. Even to
I know.
after I've
Do it.
seen an episode,
Say it.
I have to type in what are
What's,
the cameos.
what did we miss? What did we
There
miss?
was a I'm trying to remember if it was part two. I believe it was part two
Okay.
of Tolerance is Extinction,
Yeah.
and they're at this huge place. I believe it is part of X Mansion. Actually, yeah, part of X Mansion. And from a distance, you see a whole screen. There's a lot to see, but in the corner, I spotted something, and it is the Wolverine motorcycle.
Oh yes.
My
That's
brother had
actually in
that
the
as a figure. He had that figure as a kid. So as soon as I spotted it, I'm like, "It's
yes.
Wolverine's motorcycle."
The Wolvie cycle. So that was in Muir Island when they were flying to Muir Island, and you got to
Yeah,
see the costumes in the cases as well. The old,
there was a Muir Island. Yeah, so yeah,
yep,
that was cool seeing all the outfits and yeah, especially seeing the Wolverine motorcycle. I
yep,
spotted that. Yeah.
yep. That was good. That was good. All right, so let's go ahead and let's jump to ratings then. Sonny, you may go first. I know what you're going to give it because I think I'm going to give it the same thing.
All right. I'll just jump right down to it. We've been talking about it for quite a while. So I, Sonny Kruger, on the CODEX station, give X-Men 97, Tolerance is Extinction, the whole three-part storyline,
Our story.
10 out of 10. And Sal, what do you give Tolerance is Extinction, parts 1,
If
2,
I,
and 3?
well, it was hard for me. It really was because I can't give it anything higher than 10 out of 10. You
There we
know,
go. 10 out of
I
10s all around.
if I could give it higher, I would. But I mean, it was just it was epic. Each part or each section made you want to couldn't wait for the next episode to come out. I love that. And one of the things I like about shows that I give a really high rating to is rewatchability. Meaning,
Mhm.
am I going to watch this again down the road, 2 months from now, 3 months from now? Am I going to rewatch this episode? That's a hell yes. I will be rewatching this a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So and it'll be for certain scenes, or maybe I'll have it playing in the background while I'm working, just because I like background noise sometimes. And so this is a show I can rewatch anytime, and it will be rewatching. So
Same here. Even too, when I was watching it, I knew I'm like, even though we gotta wait week by week for the parts, I'm like, I'll
yep,
watch it week by week because, like I said, Wednesdays 3 a.m. I was watching it, and I said, you know what? I also look for. I'm watching it. I'm enjoying watching it, and I'm looking forward to rewatching it and watching all three parts together. And when you add them all up, it's like a short movie. It's like an hour and a half movie.
right. It's
So
almost
or a
like I
little
feel like
over.
I always catch something else when I rewatch it as well. You know.
Oh yeah. And like
So
I said, rewatchability is big because there's something when you watch something the first time, like usually it's better, and then it's like okay, but how is it the second and the
yeah,
third time? And with so many of these episodes of X Men '97, I love it every time, and I'm like, I can tell. Time 3, I'm gonna still love it, and time 4, I'm still gonna love it. So
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. All right. So you heard it here, folks. We both given it a 10 out of 10. I think we're giving this overall season a 10 out of 10
Oh yeah.
because it's just we. I only think we're really like episode was a 2 with the Mojo World was kind of like fair about it, but still got a high rating as
Yeah,
well.
still enjoyed it a lot. Yeah.
Man, still enjoyed it. So I think this whole season got 10 out of 10. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If I have to rate, yep. X Men
Yeah.
'97, the whole first season, 10 out of 10.
Of course. This should be like a gong in the background. We need that bong. 10 out of 10.
We got to get that. Maybe in the future. Maybe when we're
Okay.
reviewing X-Men 97 season 2.
2. Yep. All right,
We'll be
folks.
back here reviewing it when season 2 comes out.
Absolutely. Absolutely we will. So, folks, this is Sonny Kruger over here on this side of me over here. I am Sal the Slab Guy. Check us out on the Codex Station. Go to thecodexstation.com, meet the team, get some merch, so much more. And if you were on any social media, go ahead and hit the look for us on at the Codex Station. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. It helps out the channel so much, and we would love to give you this content. So please go over there and like, share, and subscribe. And when when Sonny's not here on Codex, Find them on YouTube here under Series About a Series. Excellent thing, excellent series, excellent movie. I'll call it a movie. Do you want to call it a short or do you call it a movie?
I should
What
just
do you call
call
it?
I call a series about a series a series.
A series. Very good. Folks, go check it out. It's some great stuff. It's
Yeah.
stuff you got to see. And of course, you can always find me on YouTube at the corner, Sal's Comic Corner, and on Instagram as the Slab Guy 77. And
Check
folks,
out all those slabs he's got behind him. He's got
yeah, no,
X-Men. He's got
find
all
all his
kinds.
X-Men slabs up
He's
there. Check
got
them out.
a million Venom comic books.
I wouldn't say a million. I would say three or four. Okay, three or four.
Three
That's
for
fine.
1,000. All right.
Folks, we will catch you next time we're doing a review. So take care, and I hope you guys have a 9.8 day.